Welcome everyone to Content Constable. Today we shall be revisiting someone that we have covered before, obviously, but someone that we need to revisit for 3 incredibly good reasons. Those reasons shall now dictate how we proceed, and how we frame how best to rectify the mistakes we made in Part 1. The first reason for a Part 2 to happen was that I requested 1 like, which one of you obliged with, and 9.7 thousand sycophants followed suit. For shame. The second reason, in Part 1, I gave this person credit for something which they have since undone, rendering the first video a poorly aged video, and I don't like that. For obvious and selfish reasons, I'm not a fan of my work aging poorly. And the third reason, due to time constraints, there was much I left out of Part 1. In this video, I shall address all of it, and give all of it the light it deserves. If it isn't obvious already, no, we're not doing Amber Lynn or Foodie Beauty, and we're certainly not going to be doing a Part 2 on social repose. Instead, we're going back to Nikocado. To be honest, we do need to catch up with him. I hear he went vegan, has an OnlyFans, and had some drama with Stephanie Sue. So we should take our time, see what he has been up to, and decide if any of it really needs calling out. To be honest, most of it does, but we'll get to it all in time. As a final thing before we begin, I have an idea. There is a chance, a slim one, that I will struggle to adequately fit the more angry responses into this video. So if we can get 2 likes, and Nikocado says my name like Amber Lynn did, perhaps pronouncing it a little more accurately, a Part 3 could happen, much like the Part 3 to Amber. So to begin, let's talk about what Nikocado did that undid the one good thing I had to say about him, and no lie, I was incredibly cross about this particular incident with Hushbang. So, yes, Part 2, and with a valid excuse. What did I do in Part 1 that failed to age so well? Simple, really. I gave Nikocado Avocado credit for not striking down those that have been critical of him, and over the years there have been many detractors, all of whom had fairly legitimate reasons to be critical because you are a lolcow. Every video you have a tantrum. Your life is one rather irritating drama series where you are the centre of attention, which astonishes me, but then again, you do now have an OnlyFans, we will get to it later. Honestly, I'm surprised you haven't been awarded many awards and renewed for Season 2 yet. Are you syndicated? At the time of recording the first video, that original point of him not striking down channels and it being one of 2 things that is really good about him, the other being the fact that he is just so entertaining because of how much of a mess he is, made him look good compared to the likes of Foodie Beauty and Amber Lynn Reid. Well, that no longer exists as a good point. So what did Nikocado do? He decided to strike down Hushbang twice. Yes, classy. There was a possibility of a saving grace, but we'll get to that soon. Because of this, Hushbang almost got their channel terminated. Because of those copyright strikes, the videos, by the way, were jokes. That's it. Now, why is this wrong? Simple, really. There is a system on YouTube that allows creators that believe their copyright has been infringed upon to contact the person that infringed on the copyright owner's rights. Something which he did not use, instead going so far as to do an hour-long stream justifying why he will not apologise to Hushbang, confirming he didn't remove the strikes, and then agreeing with Veronica Wang.
I can't say that word on YouTube. Okay, I also don't want to respond to that because I just had a meeting with my manager from Google and we're looking into it. So that's all I'm saying. It was not false. And we are pursuing what we need to. That's that. That's all I'm going to say at this point. But it was made on decision of a few people. Well, the last question was, JP Metz. I'm sorry I couldn't really answer. I will when it's over. Why are you doing this? And I'm just like, I'm mad. I don't care anymore. He goes, but will this help you? And I said, in a way, it gets my name out there. It makes people talk even more. And he's like, but how do you come out of it? And I said, I don't know.
About the use of the copyright system when one can't take it and their feels are just, too much. Suffering in the feels, swag. It's actually quite embarrassing, really, when you defend somebody that you actually had a legitimate point against in the first video, where Veronica Wang had misused the copyright system, and then you, on Veronica Wang's side now, defend Veronica Wang, someone you called out for being an absolute moron, because your feels, even though it can be safely argued that 99.9% of all criticism levied at you in those videos, even if they're parodies, is real, legit, and actually valid. Also, there is another way around this. Nikocado could have simply asked away from YouTube via Twitter DMs or emails that they simply remove the video. This aside, you have to consider what Hushbang uploaded that got such a response. Well, these are the titles. I think it's pretty obvious what the videos were. I did ask Hushbang, pretty much confirmation. Nothing it should have really got his goat up, but apparently it did. So how did Nico respond? Well, as I earlier stated, he blamed Hushbang in a 1-hour stream. Since all of this went down, though, the strikes have gone. Hushbang has also deleted all of the videos related to the tea community from her channel, going in the direction, I believe, of machinima. I have no idea what that is, and I hope I pronounced the word correctly. Go subscribe. But was it Nikocado that removed the strikes? No. YouTube removed the strikes because they were bogus copyright claims. Surely, if the copyright system has been misused, YouTube should have surely then applied 2 community guideline strikes to Nikocado's channel, because he misused the copyright system as it is in fact in the terms of service. But they didn't. Imagine my shock. The saving grace for Nico would have been if he had then removed the copyright strikes and then admitted guilt. But he didn't. As far as I'm concerned, Nikocado needs to be held to account for misusing the copyright system and flaying for targeting someone instead of being a grown-up and talking directly to them. I have all the receipts for this, by the way. I asked Hushbang for them. It took me 3 seconds. And quite frankly, this behaviour from you, Nikocado, explains the desperation to remain not only relevant, but also to branch out so as to acquire more monies. Hence, the OnlyFans account. Although I thought personally you'd only started it to copy your friend Trisha Paytas, your dear bum chum. And with that, we're going to move on to another incident that took place not long after I made my video. It was actually the first thing that got everyone up in arms and then started people commenting to me, your video didn't age well. And that would be what happened between you and Stephanie Sue. Because boy oh boy, this one's a mess. And I still don't understand it. At the beginning of 2019, there was an incident concerning a YouTuber called Shukbang. Shukbang received a number of copyright strikes from Veronica Wang after Shukbang made a video clipping all of Veronica Wang's nonsense out of a video to make essentially a parody video. It was quite amusing, I will admit. Veronica Wang even commented on it, but not long after, she copyright struck multiple times. Nikocado was one of those that went on the offensive. Things did eventually die down. Veronica Wang was called out for basically abusing the system. Nico didn't stop. It was where the good point came from, because I actually was in his corner for that. I firmly believe he was in the right. His argumentation using the YouTube terms of service proved a clear point and made Veronica Wang look like a very salty and incredibly sensitive person. Even PewDiePie called her out, and she went on to unironically use one of his clips in an Instagram video, 'cause no irony there. Stephanie Sue was in that video, the video that Shukbang used, showing the awkwardness, exaggerating certain sounds, and long pauses. Later on in the year, because of that, Nikocado started talking to Stephanie Sue. Once things had fizzed out, died down, once the drama had gone, they'd agreed to collaborate. So Nikocado went to her home. What happened next is a bit odd, with Nikocado claiming in a response video to Stephanie Sue's video, which you're yet to get to, that she gave him a tour and flexed all her stuff essentially. Stephanie Sue denies this, but since she has flexed her home, other places in the past, it's a bit up in the air and we're not too sure. In an incredibly long video by Stephanie Sue, she made a lot of assertions, and I have to call them that because a lot of it was not supported by any evidence presented. Granted, and this is where a lot of you are going to say this, a lot of it fell in line with a pattern of behaviour from Nikocado, but without the evidence, it is still only an assertion. I'm going to get hate for that, I know. Future Meg here. Yeah, I'm recording and editing. I'm very talented. I bet many of you noticed that I didn't go into the pattern of behaviour that crops up in all of Nikocado's drama. And in this current incident, it crops up again. So now let's get into that quite quickly. There are 7 key traits. There are a bunch of secondary traits, but these are the 7 I noticed, and they're the ones that repeat quite often. 1. Gaslighting, because he is totally alien to the crybaby when he doesn't get his own way. And of course, to silence those that he disagrees with. 2. Bullying. Even though the drama with Wang was cold, he was obsessed with ponage and cancelling Wang until he decided to agree with her. 3. Guilt tripping. To get others to work for him, he makes you feel like dirt to do his bidding. 4. Manipulation. See 3 and apply here. 5. Coercion. 3 and 4 require a large order of 5. 6. Grifting for clicks. He fully knows what will get views. Collateral will include his own integrity and dignity provided he gets what he wants. Money. 7. Evidence. He used to use solid evidence to make good points, now he uses out of context evidence coupled with previous 6 points to try and legitimize his now points. All of these, along with those earlier mentioned secondary traits, combine to paint a rather damaging picture of how he operates behind closed doors. Now back to Content Constable Meg. She did provide some evidence though, which was quite illuminating, mostly proving the long-held belief that Nikocado is really weird. She does, however, compare some of Nikocado's behaviour and interactions she had with him to that of the most horrific incident she ever had to endure. I've chosen to phrase it that way because there's no way this gets a green check mark. And to support this, she plays a clip, but the clip is actually of Nikocado, frustrated that his attempts to get laid, sorry Olin, were for naught. Not indicative of certain behaviours that she claims. I'm using this, by the way, to point out that while Nikocado is fundamentally in the wrong with everything that happened, dear Lord, he was in the wrong. Stephanie Sue is not either. But I haven't actually fully finished this, have I? I haven't quite given the full picture. So on her Reddit, Stephanie Sue indicated that Nikocado wanted to do an exposed video on Veronica Wang, something he himself admits to. She also believes that during the mukbang, Nikocado was trying to ask leading questions, which does explain why Nikocado uploaded the video titled "This video of Zach Choi and Stephanie Sue was deleted from the original mukbang," which I just want to point out. In her video, some of her claims were related to your video, this very video I've titled. Is it me though, or has that video been edited since then? Because there are clips missing that make her claims look false, but I swear I've seen that video before, and I'm almost certain there are bits missing. Although it could just be me, I don't know for sure. I kinda wish I downloaded it when I had the chance, but I got a little busy. So to get back on track, Stephanie Sue, because of how uncomfortable she felt with Nikocado pushing this line, decided to cancel the last collaboration shoot by saying she was having a, air quotes, in and out of sleep, a quote Nikocado used in his exposed response video to Stephanie Sue's video, but that comment has been pointed out as what appeared to be an in-joke. I'm still not entirely sure, and I'm quite confused. A lot of the sources I was given for this were tweet screenshots. Piece of advice, as grateful as I am for help, truly, an archive link is far better, because then the tweet is permanent. We have the interactions. If the tweet is deleted off the Twitter, we have the tweet, as the page is saved as is, which would have all the interactions, which really helps. So Stephanie Sue made a video in the tail end of December of last year, not long after I made my first Nico video. Oh, that was how quickly my video stopped aging well. The video racked up 10 million views, universally, for the most part, approved. And the tea community, the mukbang community, pounced on Nikocado. He took a whole week to respond, which I have to admit, back then when it happened, baffled me. I couldn't understand why someone would want to take so long to respond to such claims. But when he did, he went through every single point she made in her video in an incredibly long video. And I'm not going through it with you, I promise. Some of the points made some sense, I will concede. However, a lot of it just seemed like bluster. And that's how I perceived it. It didn't come across as someone trying to justify anything because he wasn't really debunking anything. The video he made was universally panned. But I do believe while that is because of how poorly he responded, how long he took, the arguments he presented, it's also because people were looking for an excuse to hate him. Stephanie Sue did make a follow-up, providing more receipts, more evidence. If this video was called Content Constable Stephanie Sue, we would spend more time on it. She doesn't address all the points he makes, which is understandable, but the ones she didn't address came across as the reason she didn't address them because his points might have been valid. And they've moved down the path, herself and Zach Choi, of this goes through legal representatives now, but since nothing's happened to Nikocado, one can assume it didn't go any further. Many of the commentators who reported on this, even Drama Alert, said they weren't bothering because it seemed so petty. And to be honest, that's how it came across when I first looked at it after I managed to finally get through the confusion of it all, which took 4 hours because that's how much footage I had to watch. Honestly, it came across as him trying to do something for business because he knew it would get views, and she didn't want any of it. And it just spiraled from there. Which to an extent you can give Nikocado credit for wanting to exploit a situation for views. Sure, I personally don't care for it. I think his responses were absolute trash, to be honest. He failed to adequately do anything, and when he did provide receipts, it all appeared to be out of context, much like some of the things that Stephanie Sue herself used. The one thing this did with absolute certainty was do a lot of damage to Nikocado's channels. Only recently has he started getting videos that actually get more positives than negatives. The more recent Our Final Video Together with himself and All In is an example of it. But I'll be honest, I think the only reason people thumbed it up was because of how funny it was watching you two bicker. I know a lot of you are going to say that I've left a lot of this out. Additional context, minute details. I know that. But to adequately go through what happened here would take longer than the time I would ideally want to spend making this entire video. The whole point of that drama matters very little in the grand scheme of how bad Nikocado looked because of how poorly he handled it. It showed a businessman making poor decisions entirely for selfish reasons, and in the process alienating himself from people he is supposed to network with. Had he just acted like a grown-up and left the Veronica Wang nonsense alone, I don't think his channel would have suffered, and those collaborations with Stephanie Sue and Zach Choi would have been fine, and he more than likely would not have ended up with an exposed video. Although I still think it's quite interesting that Trisha Paytas defended him, but that's again a discussion for another time. Shall we move on to Mrs. Pickles? Let's move on to Mrs. Pickles. Hi, Future Meg once again. There was one last thing when it came to the Stephanie Sue related drama that didn't really help Nikocado at all. It was this clip right here.
Everyone's you need to say sorry. You need to say sorry. You need to apologize. Hello, who are you? Who are you again? Sorry for what? Like, I'm not sorry.
You really don't make things easy for yourself, do you? So what is Mrs. Pickles? I mean, who? Who is Mrs. Pickles? Well, Mrs. Pickles is Nikocado. In the video Fat Juicy Burritos, we see the transformation in full.
How to do this? Actually, let's do all of it. Brand new cheddar cheese. Here we go. Boys and girls, we got this. We got this, love fam. Oh, honey. Best part, the cheese. There's a fly. Oh. I'm so sorry.
I see that broomstick's still not getting any help. Do I need to start a GoFundMe to save it? Mrs. Pickles has featured in 5 videos that I could find on Nikocado's channel. I'm sure it's more, but for some odd reason they don't exist anymore. But I did download the ones that were there, along with one that was an official statement from Nikocado in his office, where he went into detail on the official Mrs. Pickles channel.
Hi, little sloths. It's Nikocado Avocado. I'm in my office right now. It's a chew toy for Kiwi. I'm just making this video again to let you know this is the real account for Mrs. Pickles. She's on the way, and I'm so excited to make videos for you guys. And yeah, make sure you subscribe. Once I get enough subscribers, I can have a notification bell. And then once I get, it just has to grow. So, you guys, this is just my official statement.
But since 2 more videos of Mrs. Pickles surfaced after that statement on a different channel, one can surmise he didn't get the subscribers he was after, to then go forward with the Mrs. Pickles character. Since for the sake of it, in all the videos in question, it's just Nikocado speaking normally to his sloths, fans, what's left of them anyway, one can safely surmise it's just an excuse to wear lipstick, eyelashes, blonde curly wig from the 80s, and continue to mukbang it over 5,000 calories every single time. Since he did do one where, as Mrs. Pickles, he ate a lot of Big Mac cheeseburgers for a challenge. Yeah, count the calories.
Hey guys! Hi little sloths! Welcome to today's video. Today, he's eating a lot of McDonald's, and I'm not eating any because I'm on a diet because I have the metabolism of a turtle.
Oh dear Lord. It's also another one of those instances where he did in fact collaborate as Mrs. Pickles with his dear bum chum Veronica Wang.
Milk, lemonade. Around the corner, fudge made.
I don't like you either.
Okay, bitch, we making ramen noodles and rice cake.
Okay.
Okay, so.
It's nice to see your relationship go through so many ups and downs in 2 videos. It almost warms my hearts. It's a shame that Mrs. Pickles hasn't featured more, to be honest, because I would argue seeing Nikocado in a blonde curly wig, lipstick, eyelashes is far more entertaining than the usual red shirt we get that ends up crying and smashing his food apart with a broomstick.
No, I want a shirt that says it's just water weight. Would you guys wear it? It's because it is. You guys saw 2 days ago, but I had pin stick arms. Can I gain 10 pounds of jiggle jaggle in a day? No, I can't. It's water weight. I have water retention because I ate a lot. Okay, so this is.
I thought I'd just throw this bit in here, because firstly I hadn't realised until watching it again that Orlin was also in a wig. Let me guess, the character is Orlina. Or how about Mrs. Tuna Salad? Because I hear tuna salad and pickles are quite the combination. But also the fact that Nikocado let something slip in there about water weight. As we know, Nikocado is around the 300-pound mark. Based on a more recent video with him and Orlin, which we'll get to soon, one can safely say it's not water weight. I promise you that. It's really not. So now I guess it would be a good time to have a little discussion about some of Nico's more recent activities, but we're going to start with the OnlyFans account. This one is going to be very difficult to talk about and get monetized. So I guess we should start with what is an OnlyFans account. OnlyFans is a site where people can post pictures and videos ranging from normal cosplayers doing cosplayer things, all the way over to the more extreme side of Has anyone seen Trisha Paytas's? Yeah, that. After the Stephanie Sue drama, it was clear Nikocado cottoned on to another revenue of income. I thought perhaps it might have been because he got demonetized on a channel or two. But he did start an OnlyFans account and uploads content in the more extreme department. I did ask Twitter for reviews, but not one of them was remotely ad-friendly. All of them centered around a few key traits. I did ask FabFitGeeky, link to her channel below, what she thought. Underwhelming bath fest was what she said. From the few images I did look at, it does involve some solo work. Some work with All-In, and we'll get to All-In in a moment. I had thought perhaps this was because of the monetization, but I also think it's because this guy knows how to make money. Because that is a lot of the problems many of these creators have. How to stay relevant to maintain the income level they have. That is always it. It's why, and we'll get to it soon anyway, Nikocado has had a number of recent incidents that has caused quite a stir, because he's very much aware, because of the stir, people will go to his channel and they will then give him the attention. Granted, I don't know if he's gained much in the way of OnlyFans subscribers, but if they're paying $14.99 a month, you can guarantee he's getting some money from it, when the rest of it isn't being shared all over Reddit, Twitter, and Kiwi Farms, of course. So I guess we should finish up by talking about what he's been doing since the last video we did. Granted, the Stephanie Sue stuff happened. He created an OnlyFans. Nikocado went vegan.
Hey everyone, it's me, Nick Avocado. That change is gonna happen now. When I was living in Philadelphia, I had a and that I thought an was looking over me. I could not like it was about to. All I'm trying to say is that I'm going vegan.
2 days later.
He has continued to make regular content on many channels. He has continued to shill himself like no tomorrow. He forgot Kobe Bryant's name. He believes he's Jesus.
Jesus is right here. He's right here. He's right here.
The list really does go on. It's quite impressive how quick he manages to annoy people. But most importantly, above all else, he is still making content with All-In.
Barely fit here. Hi everyone, we are doing a happy marriage, happy couple, in a good mood.
Because we're too cheap for therapy.
I'm doing the intro.
Okay.
We are gonna be eating lots of leftovers in honor of me always making him eat my leftovers.
It's true. I always eat your leftovers. I'm not allowed to eat normal food.
Yes, you are. You binge.
No, you tell me. If you're going to go out and
No.
buy junk, you better film it.
If you're gonna raise your voice at me, we're not doing this together.
No, that's just an excuse. That's called disordered eating.
No, you know. I barely ate in the video. See,
You had like 5,000 calories in a sitting.
presented in front of me. I didn't actually consume it.
Oh no, you ate all of it.
Uh-uh.
You turned off the camera and you sat down on the couch, got it full of crumbs, and you started eating on the couch and got it full of crumbs.
Well, great. Everyone just hates me. You hate me. All my viewers hate me. The whole internet hates me. I'm canceled over top of canceled over top of canceled over top of I am just nobody. I have no one. I have no soul. I'm a cheater. I'm a liar. I'm fat. I don't know why.
Which astonishes me. Many people on Twitter had surmised that perhaps they were both acting up the failings in their relationship because they both know it gets the views, and after watching them do a mukbang together and argue the whole time, seeing how big both of them are now as well, I tend to agree. Because at this point, with all the things that have continually torn you apart, all the things Nikocado has done, there is a level of codependency that is quite sad and tragic. This is the final time you get future Meg, I promise, because the next part is the conclusion I just saw this video up on Allin's channel, which I didn't know existed until I typed his name into YouTube.
I've decided to just leave. I got on the car and I told him I'm not coming back because I'm just mad that he's still lying. He's always lying about everything. He's always lying about our relationship.
How insightful. I guess that makes my last comment of codependency redundant, but we will see how long this lasts as the video is only a few days old. So now we have finally reached, the end of part 2 to Nikocado Avocado. It is my sincerest hope that this video will serve as a final nail in this particular series. Nikocado has more flaws than redeeming qualities, which does make for entertaining viewing, and he knows that, but it is a damning statement of his motivations and interests, that he pushes with it and pursues it and dives into it so far that it destroys him to the point where he has several channels because he keeps on making new ones to almost try and start again, which fails miserably because everyone knows where he is. It is my belief that he is a character, but like many, an on-screen exaggeration of his true self. I am surprised that he's still able to get views, and a somewhat decent supply of support. From those views, mostly the ratios are pretty bad these days. But I'm not surprised he has sunk so low, in a somewhat desperate way to continue maintaining his relevance. Nikocado needs to get professional help, but as Allin earlier said, he's too cheap for that, to deal with many of his flaws. But I don't think he will get it, as he has pigeonholed himself as a creator, and as his flaws get him views, he won't bother to change. His fear of meaningful change will be what slowly ends his time on this platform. While I will never wish that on him, I do believe getting help and taking some real time away may benefit his long-term prospects. Thank you all for joining me, and do have yourselves a lovely day.